How are we doing, Heather? Hope you are good. Right, let's have a little. Well, we'll have a look through, and then we'll have a chat about how unwell you've been, and go forward. So let's have a look. So I've kind of had a little bit of a brief look through a lot of these. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, a little more bent over the bar, a little bit more of a hip hinge than I would necessarily like. But not bad, not bad. A little bit more of a wide stance conventional, more than anything else. But again, not bad, not bad. Weight moving nicely. Good. Very good. I saw in the program as well, shoulders feeling a bit better. Awesome. I think we'll still look to keep the safety bar in there for this coming week, and then slowly start phasing it out because I don't want to jump in too quickly, particularly low bar, because at the moment we're squatting to train the legs. We're squatting to train the squat. We're not squatting to do anything other than that. I'm not worried about what your shoulders can tolerate just yet. I'm worried about keeping you squatting. That tricep extension. Yeah, so you can see on that last one, you can even see sort of it comes down a hell of a lot higher up on the chest because you can even see the tail end of the block kick up. So as you've hit the near side, it's kicked up away from you a little bit. I mean, that's strong. That is strong. I mean, for you to just to overload that tripod, just that last little bit of extension is pretty solid. I will give you that. Yeah, generally overall, it was a little tap and go-y. The block is probably a little too high. But again, it's at the moment, again, with shoulder issues and stuff like that. I I think I'd rather see you get through something like this than insist on battering that shoulder, okay, and taking it through further ranges. Um, for the hell of it. At the moment, we're very much just sort of like trying to maintain as much as possible and keep the shoulders healthy more than anything. So let's have a look. Yeah, good fight. A little bit of a hip shift. But that's good. Able to put a couple of high bar sessions together. That is good. Nice. Yeah, so that's bottoming out there. Yeah, so this is old school Heather. This is old school Heather who bottoms out her squats. So let's have a look. Okay, so at, so even say, so I've got to try and navigate around my face that's in the corner. So around about here, okay, is where you are maintaining maximum tension. Okay, so if I was just to get you just a body weight, just to squat down in this position here, okay, it's hard. Okay, because the hamstrings are working against the hips, working against the glutes, working against the quads, and everything's all sort of like fighting for control, and that's good. That's that tension that we want. That's gonna kick you out the hole. Okay, as soon as you start to go lower and lower beyond that, particularly for a lifter your size, you run the risk of bottoming out and losing tension. Okay, now this point here, okay, as soon as you could sit at the bottom of this squat here all day. You could sit there all day, because essentially you're in mechanically, it's quite a strong position. Okay, you're in basically that tower of power. Okay, there's a reason you could sit down with a bar on your shoulders like that all day, but you couldn't stay at that just above parallel or around parallel kind of ballpark. And this is just a classic example of just bottoming out. It's going to be very much a case of kind of, if it's been a little while since that weight's kind of been on your shoulders, there's still going to be a little bit of apprehension there of the actual of the shoulder itself, but this is very much a bottom out that a lifter your size just really runs the risk of either getting that pop, you know, and kind of using that spring and it really kind of working, or game over. This is where, for example, that low bar will give you a little bit more room, because you shifted the hips back to compensate, and with a low bar position, sorry, it's hard to do with my faces in the way, but as you've tried to drive out, you've shifted the hips back, and again the low bar would have set things towards the hips that are trying to move, whereas the high bar, again, it's just that weight's a little bit too far out in front. So this is where it's really important, okay, to try and turn the floor out. Okay, so kind of a cue to think of. Okay, imagine the platform that you're stood on is sand. Okay, and you're trying to screw your feet as far into the sand as possible. Your feet can't move, but when you're in your squat position, you're in your 11 and 1, try and turn your heels together, okay, and make a sort of like a mound of sand in between your heels. Okay, it's a little bit of a weird one, but it's gonna get the external rotators of the hip, okay, and get the glutes, kind of that musculature of the glutes working that a little bit more and pre-engaged to pull the body down rather than, okay, like letting gravity just kind of do its thing, which is kind of what happened there. Okay, the bar kind of bullied you a little bit, and this is it. The lighter the lifter, the less they're going to get away. The less they're going to get away with that drop and lock kind of thing, because again, there is a mass equation going on here, which lighter lifters usually get spat out of. Much better. So again, this kind of weight, I mean, that even looks a little lower than usual, to be fair. But at that weight, you have the leg strength to get out of jail. It's just one of those, the heavier and heavier it gets, it's just more and more running that risk of it potentially going wayward. Yeah, no issue with that. No issue with the shoulder. Just look at any floor press work you are doing. Look to place the triceps on the ground. At the moment on those, it's kind of like a boom, like, you know, they're kind of hitting. They're kind of sort of, if the platform wasn't there, they would have kept going. Whereas I want you to place them, boom, indicate again. And it's all about just exactly the same as the squat. You're in control. Don't let the bar kind of bully you. Okay, right, let's try and digest this a little bit. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to the hands a little bit on this one, Heather, okay? Rewatch this video, full screen, or if you've got the original on WhatsApp, try and zoom in a little bit. Hands, look what your knuckles are doing. Down, and all you did when you went to press the bar there was corkscrew your knuckles to the ceiling. Okay, so that's what you've done there. Okay, so you've essentially just rotated the bar. The only movement that happened there was this, more than anything else. And you can see again, if I play it for you again, you've corkscrewed the bar away. Okay, and it's starting to roll further and further down to the base of the palm where it should be originally. So again, sort of all that energy then is starting to just piss out in various different directions because it's not able to go up because the platform you're trying to press into, it's the equivalent of, imagine trying to deadlift, and as you go to push into the floor, you did that with your feet. You rolled to the outside of your feet. Just the platform that you're trying to press from isn't stable. Okay, so the key with that one, it's a very, very basic one, is just squeeze the shit out of the bar, okay? You should be trying to vice grip the bar the whole time, so it's going to just activate those muscles in the forearm a little bit more and stop any of this happening. Let's see again. This is you trying to pull the bar, Heather. You're trying to pull early. Okay? We need to remember, okay, it is a push. It is a push, okay? You've got strong legs, okay? Let your strong back do the work once your legs have earned the right. Okay. Right, let's have a look. So you fought to keep the chest up a lot better. Right, I think this is quite important. Okay, this shows to me, okay, I'm gonna spin this for you. Okay, this shows to me quite a lot of maturity as a lifter. All right, this is good. All right, so because that 135, okay, you've tried to pull the bar, okay, and on that day, all right, I've heard your voice notes. I've heard the final one as well. Okay, so I'll come to that at the end. And it just hasn't happened. Okay, the energy's just not there. The pop's not there. Okay, no big problem. Now, a couple of months ago, you would have had a bit of a meltdown potentially there. Okay, and it would have been quite a spiral. Okay, I'm quite impressed there actually, and that's a maturity of you of yourself, because now the ideal scenario within that, step away, reassess, strip the weight down, reapproach the bar and go. Okay, that's not your style. Okay, you are an emotional lifter. Okay, and you kind of act and that kind of anger, upset, whatever that kind of maelstrom is that kind of goes around in your head when you get psyched up, okay, and you get into your zone. You've channeled that, reassessed and gone, right, I'm going to fucking use this, twist it on itself. But whereas before you would have tried to have a go at that 135 again, and you would have just thought, if I pull harder and get more angry and more sort of hyped, it'll go. Whereas you've reassessed there, you've channeled that aggression, okay, and all those things that are kind of going through your head, but you've done it under the right parameters, okay, which is really, really big, because that shows for me a good maturity as a lifter. Right, let's talk through let's have a look at the warm-up single. So I've had a look at the fives. Not bad. Yeah, not bad. I'd like to see a little more. So from this position here, okay, I'd like to see the shoulders pulled down that little more, okay, down and back, okay, to really try and get those lats squeezed, okay. Everything else looks spot on, okay. This is a much more suitable position. Much better. Knee extension, hip extension, boof, push through and finish off the movement. Right. As far as the lifts goes, a couple of minor little tweaks, okay, but as a general rule, no major overhaul kind of needed there, okay, and I don't think it needs to be anything all too crazy. So, right, with the programming, okay, I am aware at the moment you are going to be kind of even more knocked about potentially than you already are with the antibiotics and everything else. So, I really don't want to take a foot off the gas just because this general sort of unwellness now has a name put to it. However, it is clearly sucking the life out of you a little bit, okay, and these top singles are not falling the way they should. So, what I'm going to do is, rather boringly, I'm not going to adjust the program itself at all. I'm going to ask you to redo week 5. I'm going to adjust the RPEs on the, so we're going to do a top set of 1 at an 8 still. Then the next one, okay, we're going to back down to a top set of 5 and you're going to use that as your gauge. So what we've got here, okay, it may end up looking like 6 sets of 5 at the same weight, okay. So again, this will become an 8, but use that as a way to gauge and kind of use it as your primer for the day almost. Again, if you end up doing the exact same weight across all 6 sets or 3 to 6 sets as it may be down here, absolutely fine. Okay, it doesn't have to be a particularly heavier set. I'm just thinking if we start flitting with 9s at the moment, that top output just isn't quite going to be there. Okay, I do not as well. I want to keep your predicted numbers the same still. Okay, because again, I'm reluctant by a little bit of. Again, now we can kind of put a name on something. I think it's too easy to go, okay, antibiotics, UTI, all these things, like everything needs to be shipped right back. Okay, now we start again. I think it's too much of a kind of drastic overhaul for something that is, it's very much kind of sucking the energy out of you along with the stress and everything else. But it's not in of itself going to directly affect lifts, if that makes sense. So I'm going to refresh, clear. Okay, then we'll look to do week 6, which will be 7, as prescribed, then into a deload. Okay, that is the plan going forward. We'll see kind of how that looks. Feel free, as always, okay, to adjust these numbers as and when you need to. Absolutely no problem at all. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, so again, look to keep those in as usual. And keep me up to date with the antibiotics when you finish the antibiotics, if you're feeling any better. Okay, also give me just a little bit of an update with your weight at the moment. I just want to see what your weight's playing at. Okay, nothing major to cue. Okay, in terms of the lifts themselves, other than really thinking about getting the hips and pulling yourself into that squat position, turning the knees always out towards the little toes that little bit more. Really forcing that big toe into the floor on your squats. Okay, dig it into the ground, give yourself an arch, a much stronger base to be working from. And then with the deadlifts, again, remembering it is a push into a push. Okay, not a pull. Any issues, Heather, as always, let me know. Sorry for the long video this time. Just wanted to churn through all that, make sure I get it in one go.